Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday, 19th of July. So let's have a look at the news today then, coming out, the potential risk factors, and well, the one risk factor, 11 a.m. Bank of England, member of the committee there, due to deliver a speech titled "Will the Pandemic Scar the Economy?" Okay. Okay, that's it then. So there's the risk today. Joyful conversation. Okay, let's move over and look at currencies then. Currency movement. It slowed down last week. We saw some early door sort of movement, and then it sort of looked like it's going to get cracking. And then Thursday and Friday, it really the gas came off the pedal, and particularly on the euro here, and it's just been quite ugly since. It's sort of the previous week we'd seen some really nice moves, and it started off okay last week. It's a bit slow initial first day back, then it started picking up and it died. What for today? Well, the trend is still lower highs, lower lows. That's all I can really point out at the moment. It's got into this really horrible choppy sort of stage. To the downside, I mean, it's risky now because where it sits. Talk about that, where price action sits. We'll put the price action, put this on the right place here. With this, I'm going to draw it to the previous bar there. You got this wedge pattern here, but because it's sitting in the midst of things, it could easily just pop to the downside, pull back in, which it's just done actually. It could break to the upside and pull back in. It is just in the midst of things, and I think it's a difficult one to follow really. Something might come cleaner out of it on the shorter time frames, but certainly it's not showing its hand too well for me this morning. Now the pound sold off pretty strongly on Friday. It's sort of had this sort of double kicker. It seems to ignore anything that was in terms of good news and sold off anyway. And we're seeing this sort of sell point weakness coming through on the pound. That's where was on Friday with a trend line across here that eventually broke. Looking at it at the moment, there's some sort of divergences sort of kicking across the lows here. It's got its daily pivot, weekly pivot above. I just really don't like selling or buying against this move at the moment. It seems just ugly. It is that set. Having said that, it is near the prior lows. It might have enough in it, but I'm just sort of looking at this current candle, and it sort of looks like it's had a go and then sort of pulled back a little bit. You sort of see the movement in the last 4 hours. It sort of pushed up for a little while and it's pulling back off again. Really not easy to decide on. When it's like this, it's best avoided. This is the worst of the summer, if you like. When you get days like this, they're just not clear, and not clear means not trading really. Dollar yen. Looking at this, there's Friday we saw it rally in the end. Everything else was all over the shop really, and we saw a bit of a rally there into Friday, sold off later on. It's rallying a little bit at the moment, but again, it's just where is this market going to? I'm looking at this on a 4-hourly chart and I can't really determine. It's sort of got these higher lows and lower highs sort of sitting through here at this stage. If you can't read it too easily, it may be on the upper time frames. It looks like it was a possible trend line break, drawing I might as well draw it on there if I can, across the lows here if it was to break down here. But as I said last week, it's not the easiest currency to trade on, because if we're seeing risk off, we're seeing money running into it, and then risk comes back on again, and well, sometimes the money's coming into it, some of it's not. So a difficult one to picture there. Right, Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar selling off, but predominantly selling off. It's getting weaker that's certainly the swing side of things is to the downside at the moment, in terms of its lower highs, lower lows, taking out the prior lows there and looking soft. Intraday wise, again, consolidating around the lows here. Again, got a daily and weekly pivot above. Maybe we just see a bit of a rally into those, and in fact, just looking at the daily there, if it was to run into that daily, but at 34 could be a point of sell, so selling so for me. So there we are. Difficult markets this morning. Canadian dollar has been, well, largely pushing up here on the dailies here. It's really been sold off. Any good news has been just discounted, and it continued going in. I thought we had some half decent news last week, but it just which should have given the Canadian dollar a bit more strength, but it isn't to be. And personally, on the bigger time frames across these levels, you might see a bit of MACD divergence, but yes, again, we got the daily and weekly pivots below. In this case, it might fold back down towards those. Again, a daily pivot to me would seem a decent point of buying, but they're difficult, without doubt. Let's have a look at a couple of cross pairs. Euro yen trend certainly to the downside here on the upper time frame, lower highs, lower lows. We've got a weekly pivot above, which could be a draw. It's a bit bullish looking at the moment. I was looking at this last week actually at different times. It never really come to being. On Friday it just popped over eventually. Maybe we've got a chance, a bit more chance with a couple of these cross pairs, and this might pick up a little bit. It's at the moment showing some bullish tendencies, but it's still really largely lower highs, lower lows. It tried, as I say, on Friday, maybe with the weekly pivot, the daily, weekly, and weekly pivots may get a draw, but as I say, really difficult market in the data for me on the Forex today. Looking at commodities, gold. So gold tipping over, looking a bit softer now, and certainly looking soft today. Friday sold off there, bit of a sort of swing round in the price action there. Lower highs coming through late last week as it broke the lows there, and well, maybe it's now settling down to the fact that generally gold softens in the summer, but let's not let a cycle get in the way of the techs. If the technical wants to push it still up, it may still have some upside, but lower highs, low lows on this 60-minute as well at this stage. Come just slightly short of the daily pivot through Asian session there. I mean, there's some trend lines it's running through here. It's broken through wherever you put them, on the new low, the newer low there. It's broken down. It just looks a bit soft. Dollar strength, I think, is the picture across these markets. I'm just watching another chart. The pound just sort of sliding off as I speak, as we run into 8 o'clock. So soft markets with a stronger dollar still prevailing. Oil. Doji day on Friday, soft start to the day here. It has just broken that prior low there, giving us a lower high in oil on the daily 4-hourly picture, and it's still drifting. For me, it works better to the downside now at this stage. So regardless of the deals and everything else that have been made, it does with a stronger dollar to the downside. Okay, quick look at the equity markets. Let me just bring in, actually we're going to look at Bitcoin first, as I've got this already on the chart here. So Bitcoin, no difference here, no changes. 4-hour charts, just push this out to a daily chart here. No real change, just consolidating, couple of updates over the weekend, but very minor updates at that. So really not doing too much at all. Ethereum, same old, and you're looking at across the picture here, it really is flat on these cryptocurrencies at the moment. So have a look at the indices, look at the major indices here, a look at the CSI 300, what has that been doing overnight? Well, just pick up again, but again look at the chop, it just continues in. FTSE, well, 8 o'clock we're off, and we're off and it's down. FTSE not running too well this morning, starting on an offside. DAX also pushing south and looking, well, it's put this new high in recently. Did it just put a new high in? Let's just check that. It did put a new high in, or a double top there, and it's really reacted off that either way, and just looks on the softer side. S&Ps again are just sliding down a little bit here. I never write them off too much, but they're certainly on a bit of a downward direction, or in a downward direction at the moment. If we come down these just a tad further, you see the lower highs coming through within that picture. Any good news could switch that around quite quickly, but at the moment there's signs of weakness across most of these. Nasdaq has been the sort of the leader of the pack in some respects, often pushing up, and we put a lower high in this as well. So we're seeing that softness coming through on a lot of these markets. The Dow often shows it a bit earlier as well, and that's certainly fallen back at the moment. So I'm a bit more pessimistic on some of these equity markets, which is rare, but with the caveat that they can turn around on a dime, especially the S&Ps, it seems. But and it might be doing just that at the moment. It's run back into these previous 4-hourly lows here. It might just be finding a bit of support off that level, maybe temporary support. Let's just come back to the dailies here. But it seems to be sitting around that area. But that's the first sort of signs of softening that was being a bit clearer of late. So there we go. That's pretty much it for me today. I'm sorry there's not better things to look at, but it's the way the market is sometimes, and sometimes sitting in cash is the best way out. So I wish you a great day, and I will catch you in the morning. Bye for now. Here we go. That's that done.